If my background didn't make it apparent already, I am a high school senior. And with that, of course, means finally tackling one thing: my future. I've known since elementary school that I would go to college. It was just a question of what I would pursue and how I would go about it. Back then, of course, I thought I would be a lawyer, and that didn't last. Several years later, I've gone through several careers and I've thought about several things, and I've concluded with one major. Me, an art kid, an art student, would major in computer science. I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? As early as ninth grade, I was starting to see that I no longer wanted to become a lawyer. It was also in ninth grade when I started to realize, and more specifically remember, how much I had liked programming and just sitting around in the robotics room of my elementary school for hours of the day. I knew at that point that I was okay pursuing a STEM career. More than okay, honestly, I loved it. But at the same time, I also knew that art, the visual arts, the performing arts, all the things I enjoyed were complete opposites and almost antithetical to pursuing computer science. And I think that became more apparent in the past year. I mean, we've seen the rise of AI, especially generative images. I talked about it just a few months ago with Instagram, the same platform that I'm using to promote my own art. So, at least since last year, I've come to understand that despite I do want to pursue computer science, and I will, what's the morals of that? Like, what's the ethics? It's not like I'll be directly pursuing artificial intelligence, and I don't really want to. But at the same time, I'm honestly drawn to it just a little bit. I want to understand it. I don't want to help it advance. I don't really want to help it move on, especially generative images. But I do want to understand it more. And as someone who specifically is probably going to go into software engineering, or at least software development of some sort, I'm inevitably going to be interacting with people, ideas, or institutions that ultimately support AI and may not even respect creative industries. We're starting to see it already. Currently, at least, I've gone about computer science and art as a way to help each other, which I think is a unique lens to start taking things by. At least for me, I used A-Frame about a year ago to put my traditional art into a VR gallery setting. This is just one of the many examples of using technology and programming to enhance the traditional art experience. That's been my goal within all of this. As much as we place computer science, programming, and art and creative ventures as opposites, I do think in an idealized world they can work to help each other. Not AI, but software development and programming specifically. But the morals of computer science really come into how far I'm and other people are willing to do that. Will I get to a point in my personal career with what I'll be developing will be different from what I enjoy and what I like? Will that thing ultimately work against what I want, what I like, and my artistic community? I feel like that I will have to deal with at some point those two skill sets, those two different ideas brushing up against each other. And I think that will be my problem with pursuing computer science. It won't be the profession in of itself, but it might be the people I meet. It might be the institutions I work for or the institutions that intend to recruit me. I'll inevitably be in a place where these institutions might not value creative professions and jobs, and at the same time, not valuing me or other members of the artistic community. And so I made this video for a few reasons. One, to make it clear that I'm not going to be an art major, and not only that, but I'll start using this channel probably to partially vlog my journey with applying to college. And two, to kind of set this up as like a timeline of sorts. I want to come back to this 4 years, 6 years, 8 years from now, and maybe be able to provide valuable insight as someone who will be in the career space finally. Currently, I have pursued projects that do combine computer science, specifically programming, with the visual arts, but I haven't done it as a career, nor do I have a degree now. I do think, however, within that time period, we're going to see even more and more people continuing to use generative imaging. But at the same time, I'm also seeing a very large population of people who do not like it and who do not use it. So maybe in the next 4 years, we'll see something change within that. Anyways, this video is going to be really short, but it's essentially just declaring the start of this journey. I've already had this on the banner, but I've never really talked about openly how I feel about it. But right now, as much as I do feel iffy about the future of computer science, of AI and specifically, I do at the same time feel some comfort in the fact that I'll be pursuing the overlap between the two in my own way and in my own path. I do ideally want to make sure that whatever I do pursue is not ever going against the art community, because that's something I cherish and enjoy. And I don't ever want to be in a place where what I'm pursuing in computer science is causing harm to that community. But that's all. Goodbye.